Hello and welcome to the Love and Marriage Talk Show. I'm Annie.
And I'm Warren.
And we're the Sallys. We're super excited. We're super excited about our show. Tonight, our title, Dating Again and Remarriage. Our special guest is Dr. Timothy Brantley. He's a certified counselor as well as the pastor of Restoration Springs. He's an author, and he has over 20 years of experience in relationship counseling.
Wow.
Dr. Brantley is also a newlywed. His wife, Portia, is also an author, as well as an international transformational coach.
Wow.
So get ready. Let's go into the show. But I did what I saw other women in my life did. You got married, you got out of high school, you got married, you had children, you raised a family, you got a job, so that was the pattern. And there was not a lot of time for self-care or self-concerns. Now, I did discuss what I wanted in a marriage. We talked a lot about that. But for those of you that are dating or dating again, be very mindful to date with expectation, date with purpose. Even back then, I knew what I did not want. I didn't entertain guys that were going the opposite direction to my vision of my life. I didn't do that. And we should not do that. We should know, we should have a vision for our lives. And then when we're dating someone that you're thinking about marrying, let's compare our visions. And then let's see where we want to go, providing we get married. Oftentimes in our community, we don't talk about those things. Money is important. It will tear down a family. It will break up a marriage. Money is important. We should have that discussion. Physical relations is very important. As Portia said, if you don't do it, someone else will.
Sure enough, will.
Someone is at the door knocking to get in, and they're watching just what you have. And when you think it's not good enough, honey, it looks great in someone else's eyesight.
Sure enough, do.
Hey, you better be mindful.
Yes, sir.
Talk about that, babe. Dating after.
Oh, okay. So you broke me up to the midstream. Yeah, for me, it was basically, to be honest with you, I was devastated. I was went through about depression. Just missing my girls, being torn away from them. I wasn't really thinking about getting out there then, because not that I was trying to work on myself. It was just that I didn't know which way to go. I didn't know what to do or who to talk to. And just like Portia said earlier, having a good support system, which I didn't have, because the guys or whoever that I hung around with, they were like, to show weakness made you seem like a punk. So I kept all of that to myself, thinking, I'll just have to man up. I was really
bottling it.
Yeah, bottling it in.
And you brought it to
and
me.
It was just torn up. And then, like you said, I was bringing that. And as Dr. B said, I was regurgitating on you and making and that was probably one of the reasons why you stood me up at that.
Let it go, brother. Let it go. Let it go, brother.
She took a lot. They took a lot. It took a lot. But as we began to learn each other, we had to step back, reassess the situation, and then come back together and say, okay, now this is what A, B, C, D, E, F, and G is looking like for me. What is it looking like for you? So it wasn't until then that things started kind of coming together like a puzzle.
You know, one of the biggest problem I had with dating the first time I was single. Dating the second time, I had a son that I had to protect his heart as well as my own. Yep. So I was harder on protecting his heart than mine. And when I dated guys and my son was not a part of the equation, I knew that's not it, because he comes with me.
Right.
He's 2 years old. He comes with me. He's a part of my world. Therefore, there should be some room in your world for him. I don't understand for the world why women get involved in relationships with men and men in relationships with women that do not accept or like their children. You're setting yourself up for failure. That child is a part of your life and will continue to be a part of your life. Right. Now, don't allow them to take over your life. But when you're dating, you need to know what you're bringing into that child's world as well. So I wouldn't date anyone unless I felt they were family oriented. They wanted to include my son. Like the guys I dated, they wanted me, but he came along with me. And you were one of the first guys that said, what are you doing Saturday? Let's take Chris to the circus. Let's take Chris to the movies. I'm like, is he dating Chris or me? But hey, the guy knew how to get to the mom because he remembered I had a son. And I guess what really helped him to remember, he had 2 daughters. Yep. Yeah. So vice versa. I had to remember and include them as well. Now, we had our separate times, but we had to remember this is not all about Annie and Warren. We have children, young children that needs us.
Absolutely. Yeah, the 3 points, hopefully I remember all 3. Number one, a lot of people don't understand it's a package deal. And if, as you said, Annie, correctly, if you don't accept the package deal, then you don't want me.
You don't want me.
Correct.
Number 2, young ladies have to be very, very careful with dudes. Men too, there are pedophiles out there. Men too. Who are just dating the woman to get close to that daughter or to that young boy.
Say that, sir.
You have to be very, very careful. Is that, you know what? I got to make sure your intentions are correct. Because if the intentions are not correct, then that's going to affect us down the road. Because again, you know, back to expectations. When I got divorced, I didn't really want to have any small kids. You know, I'm 55 years old. I wasn't looking into changing nobody's diaper at 55 years old. You know, I did that 20 years ago. I ain't looking to change no diaper, get up 2 o'clock in the morning and put a bottle in somebody's mouth. So I made my expectations quite clear. And so again, Porsche checked the box on that. So but the third point in about dating, and a lot of people don't do this, you do not compare the new woman to the ex.
That's a good one.
The devil's a liar. God forbid, because you do that long enough, that girl gonna say, well, how come you ain't with her? You keep her up. You know, what are you thinking with her? And and that, hear me, ladies and gentlemen, if the person you're dating is consistently bringing up the ex, that's a good sign they ain't done with the ex yet.
They're not done. And back on the children's level, Annie, because I was as well like you said so many important things, and I wish
she sure did, didn't you?
Yeah, I wish I was right. But my son, I couldn't date with my son really because he
He's still the same. 6 foot. He's 6'2".
He accepts you. He was 4 years old. He was 4 years old, and I remember. So my ex and his dad and myself, we used to share equal time with him. Mm-hmm. And my son happened to be home on this particular night that I was going to have a date that was coming over. Mm-hmm. My son, for some reason, he was at the house, and I told my friend, please just still come over, whatever. You got to run into him at some point, and we had already talked about my son or whatever. Well, my son, it was like 8:15 or 9 o'clock. My son comes downstairs, boom, 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 stomping his feet all hard, and we never saw his face, but he goes, and he had to be so afraid, but he goes, sir? And my friend goes, yes, little man? He goes, may I talk to you for a minute? And he's like, oh, sure. So he goes, oh, what does he want? And I'm like, I don't know. What is he thinking? But he told the guy, excuse me, sir. I know that you're trying to see my mom, but it's my mommy's bedtime and you need to leave. So after that, it was just like, you know what? I can't.
That's why he had to leave his house as soon as possible.
I can't
do that to me.
I couldn't date with him. So all my dates fell on every other weekends or whatever. And it was just like, I can't do this because I also want to hang with my girlfriends and I also want to have me time. So for many years, I just was like, forget it.
That's why he had to leave the house.
At some point, he's never and yeah, it wasn't until he kind of started dating that I could really start dating again. Like my son started probably dating at like pretty young when he was in high school. So I was like, oh, maybe now I can have a boyfriend. Because now he's like, Mom, yeah, you really need to get out the house. So I'm like, come on, Mom, let's go. Get out of the house. So we did. But it was a long time. It was a very long haul before all of that. So Annie and Warren, like to that, like, and to people that do date with, sons, women that have sons that are very protective. I mean, I remember walking through the mall and I was, size 10, looking hot and sexy.
Still look hot and sexy, girl.
Well, thank you.
You look good.
And my son would be like, why are they looking at you like you're a piece of meat, Mom? And I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, but he was very protective. He was that way. He even told other men, go get your own mother. This one's mine. Like, it was just like, I can't date with him. I couldn't date with him. I couldn't date with him. So to men and women that have patience enough to date people that have children, that I think that's a special thing, but just also to make sure, like Tim said, it's not like, they're looking for something else. They're not looking for you, but looking for your children. So just that.
Wow. Something you said, I think Portia mentioned it, comparing our spouses. Tim mentioned, and some of it can be very destructive because when you're in a relationship and that spouse cheats on you, so everyone that comes into your life, honey, you size them up. Is he a cheater too? I wonder what he's doing. Because you impose that on them because that's some unmet pain. Divorce and separation is very traumatic. It's one of the most traumatic experiences that you will have to face, those of you that are facing it. And therefore, you do measure your now relationship or any relationship that you get involved in. You would want to make sure that person has your best interests at heart. Is that person cheating too? Is that person a womanizer? Those things are still in the front of your mind.
But you don't want to say it. You just like my ex.
Oh, no. You may not say it. You may not say it. No. But if you don't deal with that pain internally, you say it to yourself. When they walk out of the door, is he cheating? Who's he on the phone with? Those type of things. Until that is satisfied, until you get healing over that will forever be in the front of your mind. So it took me quite some time, even with the man that you are, to stop comparing you to the bad that happened to me, and also to give you a clean slate. So I want to say to those of you that are dating again, we do bring baggage. Unfortunately, we bring baggage. We bring the pain, the disappointment, the resentment, all of those things we bring into the new relationship, and except we go through the healing process, the continual healing process. It will forever slap you in the face because you always wonder if. And I believe that's why a lot of people don't date, after divorce, and they take such a long time, because one mind is saying, try it again. The other mind is saying, don't take the risk.
And Annie, I always say, these are parts. So you have two polar opposite parts coming at people, and those polar opposite parts, they do tend to fight it. They want to be louder to protect the individual and the person. It's so important to unburden your last relationship. Some people call those, oh, I can't get rid of him. It's, it's a soul tie. No, you just need unburdening. You need self-unburdening and unburden that part. But when we unburden, we cannot forget to invite the good attributes that we want in our lives going forward. So what you've experienced, Annie, was an echoing back. So if you are triggered at a certain point, you're like, oh my God, it places you back in that same old spot with the ex.
Right.
And here comes, you see, and I'm not saying the demon is in there, but there's that 7 times, how is it with the demon, 7 times 70?
One is released, 7 times 7 wicked.
It comes back that much harder and smacks the person you're with almost down because you have there's no healing that has taken place from that origination form. So there's that constant echoing back that does need to be delivered. And guys, it's not going to take G. It's taking a look of inside of the self with that part, that origination part, and unburdening that part, inviting the attributes so that you can place love into the next person. But we're not taught parts. We're not taught how to deal with ourselves. And this is why we have so many dysfunctional relationships and so many dysfunctional people, because we don't understand this is not even the person we're with issue. It's an echoing back of something that we have, a baby part deep down inside of us that needs delivering. And that childlike part is always saying, I need to be freed. But because we're taught to bury, and we don't understand that part that needs to be freed, we just keep letting it go back to that part, and we go slam to that other person until that person is like, you know what, I'm done. I'm walking out the door. I can't deal with this person. He or she is difficult. And it's not even that. They're really beautiful souls. It's just that there's that baby part that needs that great attribution, and that baby part needs to be unburdened so that it can fly like a butterfly, so that you can be of service to other people. This is where the enemy, now I'm getting into probably some more spiritual stuff, but this is how the enemy has really deceived us. He works out of parts. He works in that part that nobody talks about. I've never been to a church yet, and anyone is talking about unburdening your parts, unburdening that part that is in so much pain. People want to rebuke the part and get rid of it. It's a part of you. You have to, that person has to deliver that part. It has to be unburdened. It can't be rebuked out of the system. It just cannot
be dealt with. It
has to be dealt with.
What's your name?
You're absolutely right. I love that you said that, Portia. And my next thought, I wanted to say, to those of you that are listening, and we're talking about dating and dating again. I love how Portia summed that up. What you can do to unburden that, you can grieve, recover, and then take the risk. And, counseling is available. We give counseling. We give premarital, postmarital counseling. We give couples, individual counseling, and Dr. Brentley as well. And Portia does transformational coach to help prepare you and help you transition. And so that's why this type of conversation is so amazing. Yes, the church, when someone pastors a church, we pastored for many, many years. When you pastor a church, it's hard to meet the need of everyone. And that's what I love that we found out when we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, because the mega churches we became a part of, they had what we call small group. Okay. Right. What about divorcees? That's a small group. And that's, you can have that at Panera Bread. You can have that at the coffee house. Right. And you have those that have that same concern. Correct. To meet together. And then those that are grieving, grieving a spouse, maybe that's a small group. Right. And those that want to remarry, maybe that's a small group. It's hard to address everyone's need on Sunday morning, but this is a great place, a great opportunity for small groups. I can't say it enough. That's one of the great things I found when we moved to North Carolina. The first church we were in, it was 4,000 members. The next, it was 2,000. And what I love, and I took away from those mega churches was a small group aspect. Right. They came into our classes. They came into the coffee house. They came into Panera Bread. They got something to drink, and then we discuss the issue. Right. And we're like-minded people going through the same thing. So what we did, we healed one another as we continue to talk about our issue in an isolated but very safe, intimate setting.
That's beautiful, Annie. I love that. I love that with because I never think about the masses and then the smaller, the smaller groups, which is, I mean, that's just wisdom, because not everyone has the same thing that's going on. But wow, that takeaway to do that is so vital, and is such wisdom, and it makes me thinking now, like now that you guys are yet in another state, am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So how are you dealing with that now? Like with COVID and everything going on, like what is your remedy for healing and touching, people in these small aspects of groups?
Counseling and radio and television, such as we're doing. So that really helps us to share our experience and also to be that answer to someone's problem. We can't just get all of these wonderful experiences and go through all this pain and difficulty and feel like it's just an isolated incident and no one else is dealing with this thing. People are hurting. People are bleeding. There are churches that teach second marriage is a sin. Correct. So how in the world will someone know if we don't open up the Bible to Malachi and let them know that God set standards? Yes, he looks down on divorce. However, he made provision for it. So God forgives us for everything and he restores us. Someone need to know that. Yes. And so I feel it's our responsibility, because we are remarried, because we went through the pain, we went through the hurt, we went through the disappointment, the resentment, all of that. We went through blended families. We went through all of that. So we are obligated to help those that are hurting. Correct. And that's where, that's how we birthed out When the Vow Breaks, a journey from hurt to healing. Sure. We talked about the breaking of the first vow, the severing of that vow and what that meant. And then we talk about a journey from hurt to healing. We had to heal. And one good thing about this union, and I thank God for it daily, we heal together. That's because we had like experiences. We had the young children, therefore we had the blended family. So it wasn't just about us like it was in the first marriage. Now we're bringing along kids. That's right. And we got to be concerned about them. But then I can't forget about my husband. I'm still a wife to him, but I'm still a mother to my children.
Correct. So many times what people will do is that they've been single so long that when they become married, but they're still acting single. So that right there is a formula for destruction, because now you're so focused on your son, so focused on your daughter. You become married, as you said correctly, they don't see their husband, they don't see their wife anymore.
You got to bring balance.
Yeah. Again, when there is no balance, you're going to fail. I teach couples all the time that yes, you got your negatives, but where are your positives? When you don't balance the negatives and positives, you're going to fail. And let me go back to something that you said earlier, is that a lot of times their blessing is right in their face, but because they're looking behind them and not in front of them, they don't see the blessing. They don't see that this guy or this young lady who wants to be their friend is really the mate. Again, Ruth told Naomi what was going on, and then Naomi gave Ruth the instruction what to do with Boaz. That Boaz could not deny Ruth was there. When he woke up, she was at his feet. So a lot of times, I feel a priest coming on. A lot of times, we're at the feet of the ex and not at the feet at the new person. And that's why we're so jacked up, because we haven't totally severed. And so we're still dating, or God forbid, I'm hoping he comes back. I'm hoping she comes back. I'm going to date somebody else, but I'm hoping they're coming back. Now, you're not ready for the next level, because again, you are still going back to the old.
I always say, and Annie, I know we have to move along. I always tell my single friends, and especially, men and women, both singles, especially the women, because they just have just crazy expectations that just don't make no sense. I always tell them, stop looking at the distraction. I want 6'5". That's a distraction. Look at the heart of the person. Look at the need of what you need.
Right.
You know what I mean? So stop, distractions are going to be in front of you all the way, even if they're in your own imagination. So there could be someone right there in plain sight who's trying to love on you, but because you the person is so busy looking at what they want as opposed to their true need, like all that's a distraction. Like get rid of your distractions.
It is.
And really, get rid of the distractions.
I have come to the place that I tell single men, it's not how she looks, it's how she treats you.
That's good.
Because she could be fine as a dime, but she treats you like a penny. Okay, that don't make no sense at all. And a lot of guys are so visual minded. Oh, she got the piece of chicken, the breast and the thigh, but she treats you. That was funny to me.
It was very funny. I'm sorry.
That was funny. But she treats you bad. So I had one guy tell me, he said, Dr. B, I don't care how she treat me, as long as she's fine. I said, man, that is your mental complex. That you've been beat up so long that you will take a woman who will not respect you, who will not love you, but as long as she's fine and she's beating me up, that's fine. That's the same mentality of a woman who's been beaten up in the past, and when she finds a new man, she wants to be beat, because that's how the guy taught her indiscriminately and negatively. And that's how it's shown.
And just quickly, a man that accepts that beautiful woman who he really can't deal with that dime piece that he really wants on his arm, but he really doesn't want on his arm. Be careful for emasculation, because emasculating is a very big, this is another topic that you guys may not want to get into, is a very big Jezebel spirit. That you don't want that in your life.
No.
But that's another topic, Annie. Go ahead.
We'll have to bring it back. We'll have to bring it back. Throughout our years of counseling, the most asked question, and I just want to put it out there, how long should I be single before I date again? In counseling, we've been taught to help people to understand they need that healing process. So it may take 1, 2, 3, 5 years. I don't think you should put a time frame on it. What about you? What about you guys? Do you think you should put a time frame on it?
There is no time frame. To me, it's an individual thing. Some people can heal a year, some 2 years, and sometimes when the divorce happens, The severance took place 5 years ago. It just took time to put it legally. So everybody is different where they're at. It's how they are going through the process, and also if you're still angry with your ex, you're not ready for the next level. You're not, because you're going to bring that anger or that bitterness into the other relationship. So if you're still angry, still mad, still upset over the ex, if you become a stalker now, spouse the stalker, both start with S, but now you're the stalker. Ready. So really, it's a really individual level. But again, for me, the telltale sign is the anger, the bitterness within. Because if you can't talk, if you cannot talk about your ex without getting mad, or upset, crying, delivering, you're not ready for the next level.
You're not ready.
Yeah. And when someone asks me that, I always, I never answer for them. I always say, because, coaching is very different from counseling.
Correct.
I always say, let's ask the part. So, the part that holds that timeline, what does that part say? Right. So I always dig into the person's part.
Yeah.
As for my personal part, from my experience, it took me some years to really be really ready. And when I was really ready,
and when I met her, she was well done.
Because I would say, going back to what you guys were talking about earlier, for me, third time is a charm. So this is my third marriage. I'm coming open to you guys. So third time for me is a charm. This is a maturity thing. This is a beautiful space and time that I have. But I will tell you this. That I could have not done this. I was having such a great time in my single life that I was like, woo, I love my single life. And here comes this guy. I think it's too acceptance of just you living your life and just being ready to just enjoy you and serve in whatever capacity you are ready to serve in. That's when that amazing love comes, because you need to serve. We're not here, just on our own. And for me, mine wasn't maybe a parent, not only a parent, but mine was this man and his children and whomever else is attached to him. So I'm very grateful.
I love what you said. You actually answered the question, how long should it be? And it's usually, just like you said, when you're not expecting it. When you're good with you. And I tell my single friends this all the time. I'm so lonely. I want a mate. He's not coming. When you can't learn to deal with you and be alone with you, and that be okay. Take yourself out to dinner. Yep. Take yourself to the movies. He's not, because you have not learned how to love you. So that's when he comes. That's when my husband came. When I was just enjoying me. I had gone back to school and I was just enjoying me. And there he goes.
Yep. Yeah, it's don't worry, she'll be back. I'll try to hold the force until she comes back.
All right.
So many times when you are so lonely, that's when you are a prime candidate for the enemy to attack you.
Right.
Because you're thirsty now. And so anything he brings to you, you will drink. Let's go to Matthew chapter 4 real quick. When Jesus was going into the wilderness and he was being tempted, Satan offered him stones to turn into bread. Because he knew who he was. He knew he was the Son of God. He did not take the temptation. So many couples, right? They do that because they don't know who they are, as Warren said, and they're not strong. As soon as that guy comes, as soon as that girl comes, they just snatch it and they take it. And really, that was a mirage. That was a trick or a wiles of the devil. So that's a very good point. Until you are ready to understand who you are and who you are, you're not ready for the next person. Because guess what? If you don't like you, you're not gonna like the other person.
Yeah. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, one of the burdens that every survivor of a broken relationship, I want to caution our viewers and our listeners. One of the burdens that we bring into a new relationship is the fear of the future relationship.
Correct.
And I'm so grateful that during that transition, my husband did not leave. You know, he stayed with me through the rest of the healing and mending process. And I think a lot of second marriages fail and marriages because they don't understand that you're not getting a shell of a person, you getting an entire person. So they come with their own needs, their own desires, their own pain, their own baggage. And being a spouse, we have to take on that baggage, such as I think Portia mentioned. We take that on, you know. So I'm not only caring for your heart, but I'm caring for your needs, physical, emotionally needs.
Because you got to be able, to peel the layers away,
right?
To peel and to get to the heart, and not faint before you get to that,
or not bruise the heart. Because it's easy to bruise that heart. You can care for it until you bruise it. And with you, I felt you were delicate in that way because of the difficulty and because of the transition. So I had to be mindful not to bruise you with my expectations of you.
Right.
You know, and I want people to also understand, like I said, we have the emotional, the physical, and the mental attributes that we have to deal with. They varies from day to day.
Sure.
You know, like the guy you mentioned said, I just want the beautiful wife. I want the size 2. Well, I come to tell you, in 2 years, everything is going down south. Everything is going down south.
You say size 2?
So if that's what you're hanging on to, a shell, guess what?
Devil's a liar.
Guess what? That shell is gonna go down south eventually.
And it's size 2. I don't forget
It's true.
You're all right, Dr. B.
Yeah.